The NFL draft is now complete. The dust is settling. People are in the rookie drafts. They're drafting their players. And we're going to go over a rookie draft. Not a mock draft, an actual draft with money on the line. It was a 3-rounder. And we're going to go over the picks here. 1 QB draft. Usually my rookie drafts are 4, 5, 6 rounds. This one's a 3-rounder. It was sent to me. I'm not involved in the draft. And that's usually how I slice and dice it. I get drafts sent to me all the time. For all I know, they had 4 or 5 rounds of this is all they wanted to send to me. But let's take a look at these picks. Let's talk about these players. I'll talk shit on the picks as well. I'll also talk about the players I like. Before you dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now because I'm going to be with you through your rookie draft journey. More rankings are coming today. We're going to rank those running backs for sure. We're going to get the wide receivers up. We're going to be looking at all the players, the sleepers, everything. Everything, more than any other channel, because you know how this works. Look, there's like 3,000 videos on the channel, and most of them were in the last year. Click that button, stop missing out. But we're in round 1. We're in round 1, and why do people send me rookie drafts? Mock drafts, real drafts, why do people send that? I think you're wondering that if you're new here. In the beginning, in the start of time here on YouTube, there were not many channels doing rookie drafts. And the technology really wasn't there to really like meet with people and do drafts. So there weren't many channels doing it. So at the time, I would take drafts, make up drafts. A lot of times in the beginning, I would make them up. And then at that time, I would ask for drafts and people just kept sending them. People still send them to me today. And I still go over the picks. I've done that this year probably about 10 times already. I haven't in the last few weeks because just about every channel does mock drafts. But we're in round 1. We're in round 1. Round 1 here. It's 1 QB. And these drafts that happen right after the draft are the ones that can go a little insane. They're the ones that have the fun value to them. I'm not even going to say value, but the fun picks. But let's dig in here. First player off the board, 1 QB. It better be Ashton Jeanty. It better be Ashton Jeanty. Because we got drafted at the 106 to the Raiders. Raiders got a good offensive line. Marion Hampton's probably your next option. Probably, unless you want to get really frisky. I don't suggest it, but I'm trying to guess what other people would think. Ashton Jeanty, mega productive last year. Raiders stepped up, drafted him. Big time production, big time draft capital. The ADP is saying, hey, get me some Ashton Jeanty. Get me some Ashton Jeanty. It's not his rookie draft ADP. It's where he's going to be going in startup drafts, and he's going to be a first-round selection, and he should be right now. Right now, where he's at in startup draft ADP, which we're going to see it climb, I bet you, it's going to climb more throughout the offseason. It's going to climb more through training camp, and it'll get to its real points right before the season. And this is what happens every year with the top running back in the class. Top 2 running backs, top 3 running backs. Every single time with the ADP. So if you like them a lot and you like them more than the ADP, whatever it's going to end up being here over the next few days in startup drafts, go ahead and do it because it's going to climb to that point. Historically, it does that just about every single time. I know this. I've been in the game forever studying ADP. Next player off the board at the 102, Marion Hampton. Going to the Chargers. Najee Harris, say bye-bye, man. You got a 1-year contract. Maybe you can be the backup to Marion Hampton over time, but Marion Hampton is going to be the pounder of this backfield. 6 foot, 221 with good speed. Catch the ball in the backfield a bit, and this is a good situation. This is a good team that can move the chains. It's going to allow him to be productive in fantasy football. I like him for the 102. I think at the 102 spot in 1 QB, I mean, you really just have to do it. I mean, we're drafting the first round. We haven't had a first-round running back for quite some time. And now we're moving on to the 103. Moving on to 103, and now things can get a little bit ambiguous here. 1 QB. And I don't have to agree with all the picks. You shouldn't either. But honestly, look at as many mock drafts, real drafts as possible. This one's a real one. This one's a real one. There's money on these picks. T-Mac coming off the board. From analyzing this pick at the 103 with running backs there with good draft capital, they wanted a wide receiver. They needed a wide receiver. Analyzing this versus my comment section, Some people have been looking wide receiver in this range prior to the draft, so I'm not surprised. Picked at the 108, top 10 pick. We're paired with Bryce Young, and this is actually a good wide receiver for him. I expect him to get a good average depth of target, and I expect him to climb target share. I expect him actually to have a good target share and a good ADOT. And if you know my fantasy analysis from week to week, how I do things for a redraft daily fantasy football, and I merge that in for you guys setting your lineups, I don't predict the points or what they do. I try to predict the workload week to week. After the dust is settled and he's developed and he's acclimated to the system back in this year, early next year, I expect a high ADOT and I expect a good target share. I expect him to be relatively safe. Now, can we hit that top end to get to a wide receiver 1 status? That is the question, and there's potential for that with his ability to get downfield and command deep targets. There's potential for that. However, we look at the other end of the spectrum here. It's very ambiguous with Carolina. At the 103, you're looking at wide receivers versus those running backs, and you're looking at other wide receivers too who are on the market here who got drafted in the first round. Mainly this guy here at the 104, Travis Hunter. I would not be surprised that we get a few years down the road and Travis Hunter should have been the 101. First pick selected in the draft and in rookie draft. So I would not be surprised. In IDP, I got to process this more, and it really depends on your league, but he might be pushing Genty. Really depends on how your IDP scores. Really depends. You've never seen a thing such like this. How long he's going to be on defense, how long he's going to be on offense. For him to have this type of endurance, bet you he maintains it. I bet you he maintains it for a long time, and I bet you he's going to be productive for a long time. I think this is a huge pick by the Jaguars. He's going to be a good wide receiver too for this team, and he's got a good quarterback and a good system. Moving on, this player's also in a good system here. 105, Trevion Henderson. So you can move him up the board here past those wide receivers if you want. You can take the next couple running backs over him if you want. It's kind of in the range where you can be at play here. But we went to the Patriots, second round, speed to burn. We got Drake May there. Going to get passes out of the backfield. They got him compared to Reggie Bush. That's statistically through the metrics. He also got some DeAndre Swift in him. A little bit of Christian McCaffrey, but not like a comparison. More like some of the traits in his game. The explosiveness in the open field. Catch the ball out of the backfield. A few other running backs mixed in there. But again, I'm very laissez-faire. And I'm very open-minded on things. But what I like about him, 5-star prospect, productive at Ohio State, and is very good in the open field. And I think he can help Drake May a lot in the future. Moving on to the 106, Buckeyes are coming off the board. Quinshon Judkins going to the Browns. The Browns told us in this draft that they're going to pound out the rock. They got 2 damn good running backs here. Judkins is going to be the dude, and Sampson's going to be getting some work as well, and they're going to have a very good committee. They're going to start off having one of the best committees in the NFL. They got their next Nick Chubb, and I said that in my reaction video, and I did not know they had him compared to him. I just said that, and I had that feel, but I never really made that comparison. But we have top-end athleticism, top-end speed score, good size. You did get your next Nick Chubb, but in a different way. He's also a grinder. He's a hard worker. Productive in the SEC. Productive in the Big Ten. This is a player that should have went in the first round. Nick Chubb should have been drafted higher. But we're moving on to the next pick. Buckeyes are coming off the board. I don't really agree with the spots at the 107. Not 100% in alliance. Like, I would like him a little cheaper, to be honest with you. But if you're chasing wide receiver, go ahead. But there's competition in this offense. I feel like I can get Mika Ibuka a little bit cheaper September, October, November. I think I can really do that later. So I might play around with that and play chicken in some of my leagues. To be honest with you. It's not like I don't like him. It's not like I hate the landing spot for the long term. Actually, with Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield could feed him. That could definitely work out. I see Baker Mayfield loving him. Over time, I think he's going to be a good asset for fantasy football, but it might take a couple years, kind of like Jackson Smith-Njigba, another Buckeye. Like when he went to Seattle, everybody was down on that, and 2 years later, everything changed. Everything changed, and he was very cheap going into this year. He was very cheap, a lot cheaper than what he was. Coming off the boards, one of my guys, 108 to the Steelers. Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson drafted in the 3rd round for a running back. That's fine for me. That is fine for me. Day 2 or higher, I'm cool. And we're going to the Steelers. We're going to be featured. You got James Conner plus here. James Conner plus. That's what I'm seeing with Caleb Johnson. You're getting a good grinder between the tackles. You can be a workhorse. You can catch the ball. You got James Conner plus. If you're a Steelers fan watching this, you got the upgrade over what you used to have. That's what you got here. And he's going to be your ride or die. He's going to be a cornerstone player. I would take him higher than this, honestly. And if you wanted to take him higher than this, and if it's ungodly high or higher than ADP, and you want my approval, you're cool. You're cool with me. I'm not going to hate on you. I'm not going to hate on anything you do. We're friends here. But we're moving on to the 109. And this pick, fundamentally, isn't really for me. But 109, Cam Ward. 1 QB, I try to slam the high-end running backs, wide receivers, just try to get that fleshed out for a go quarterback. Especially, we're with the Titans. When we're looking at the weapons there, I don't know. I think this is a little rich for my blood. Super flex, I'm different story. I'll play the asset game with that. 1 QB. If there are quarterbacks on the waiver wire that you could potentially start, definitely fade that 1st-round quarterback. Just definitely do that because you can moneyball that shit and take chances on running backs and wide receivers. And I don't know what this league's like, and maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's deeper than this. I did not get too much context, but that's great. That allows us the galaxy brain shit. I like that shit. Moving on to 110, coming off the board here, Colston Loveland, the top tight end. The top tight end comes off the board. Colston Loveland to the Bears. There's some people down on him going to the Bears. I'm actually pretty up on him. I'm up on him. You pop some Zins, you drop some Colston Loveland, you're good to go. Because you're mixed in with Caleb Williams, good OC, offensive line rebuilt. You're better than the incumbent, so give him some time to develop. Give him a year or two. However, I'm going to diversify off him, though, because I do not pay up for tight ends. If the board starts getting weak at running back and wide receiver for me, and I really have to look at the player pool, because I've been looking at rookies for almost 28 hours straight or longer without sleep. Colston Loveland, though, back in the 1st round, early 2nd round. Yeah, and the draft capital says it. Bears says it. This is the guy they want to implement. This is the guy they want to implement in the scheme. I'm not against them going ahead of Tyler Warren. I'm definitely not. Definitely not. I love this landing spot. He's a better pass catcher. He's younger. And I'm looking at Colston Loveland here. This is a grand situation for him. 111 here. I'm looking at it right now. I want to know your thoughts, chat. 111, Luther Burden. Going to the Bears as well. They got him compared to Sammy Watkins. My boys over at Player Profiler, much love to them. Friends of the channel as well. So if you like them, you like me. You like them, you like me. I like you like me, and everything else. Luther Burden, 4'4", 140-yard dash. Speed to burn. 5-star recruit coming out of high school. We went over the route running. We went over him as a recruit. We've been going over his whole journey here. Went to Missouri. Did him dirty a little bit. He fits well with this team. DJ Moore's not going to be there forever. Kind of like what I said with Emeka Egbuka. How after 2 years, it just things kind of shift. And you're not thinking the long game too much. In Dynasty, you have to not play the redraft game. Drafted early 2nd round. A lot of people had him as a top 10 talent, top 12 talent in this year's draft. This is a hell of a talent going to the Bears. They had other positions of need they could have went with, and they didn't. They had to go Luther Burden here because they couldn't believe this was here. They made the pick. This is going to help out Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is a big winner. Luther Burden overtime would be an asset. I think Luther Burden is a guy that I'm looking to buy in September and October this year. Like, look at these rookies and be like, who can I buy in October? Cheaper. Can I spend a 205 for them? Then 305 or a player I don't like that I'm getting rid of. Can I do that? It might start off slow. We have 2 incumbent wide receivers. We're mixing in a 1st-round tight end. Luther Burden's more talented than that tight end. He could soak up some target share. I like him. I don't hate him at this spot. I don't hate him. If you're shooting your spot in the late 1st round, you have to. You have to. The odds of you hitting on this pick is what, like 25 to 30%, 40% range? Less than 50% for sure. So shoot your shot on the guys you like. Shoot your shot on the guys you're liking this round, in this part of the draft. 112, last pick of the first round. Tyler Warren coming off the board. I think he can be productive. I don't hate him. I am like the older brother of Brock Bowers. And if you say anything negative around Brock Bowers, you're probably going to catch some heat. Tyler Warren's not in that level. He's just not. He's not Brock Bowers. People in the streets saying that earlier in the offseason. And I just really had to put that on notice. Good hands. Damn. That best comparison to Jason Witten. Now, you may think old Jason Witten, but you're not thinking Tennessee early Dallas Cowboys Jason Witten. You're probably not thinking that. Just the dependability, the hands to be there. Not the most twitched up athlete. You're looking at that, you're like, damn, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see him once the Colts materialize the quarterback position being a steady, safe tight end. And especially once they figure out this passing game. And I don't think it's what they got on the roster. So that being said, 112, if you feel like going another running back or wide receiver, fine, but you might be able to catch them cheaper later. You can definitely do that with tight ends. Look at tight ends from last year's class. You might be able to buy them on the cheap. That did not materialize that you liked. I'm always looking to do that with certain players. Tyler Warren's one of those. Look how ambiguous the Colts are right now. And that may not be his fault why he's not hitting in fantasy here. That's not a slight on him. That may not be his fault. But we're moving on. Second round coming off the board. Matthew Golden, old Matty Gold here. Compton, Santana, Moss going to the Packers. Going to the Packers. So there's competition there. And he wasn't overly productive in college. But the one thing I can say about Matty Gold, the situation with the Packers, they're going to insert him in early. He's going to fit right into that carousel effect where he could be a random hit any given week. Any one of those main three wide receivers can hit on any given week. The guy who's usually getting the most target share obviously is going to be the most consistent. Well, we say this every week. If you're looking for flyers, you look at those carousel effects, try to buy the back end of it for the week for DFS, throw that in your lineup, and just pray. And Matty Gold's going to start off like that, and he could have a few boom weeks due to that. And that could pump up his value because as a rookie, you only need a few of those. And there's good potential for that happening. Because they do need a deep threat that can stay healthy. And they haven't had that for a long time. They tried, but they couldn't. He couldn't stay healthy. Now they got their guy. And he can work the short to intermediate as well. He can definitely do that. But I expect him to build upon that and he better as he emerges in the system. I think this is actually a great landing spot for him. If you had a shadow of the doubt. Moving on to the 202. Trey Harris is coming off the board. I don't have to agree with every pick. And there's other players I do like. And I'm slamming the running back position very hard. I'm not treating this wide receiver class like last year's wide receiver class. I am making some noise here. Trey Harris going to the Chargers. Late second round. I don't hate it. And I think Ladd McConkey is going to get you a good 25% target share. I think Quentin Johnston's going to be on the field at least this year. I think Trey Harris is a guy you can pick up cheap later on down the road. But I think in other drafts he's going to be a little cheaper. And I think there's going to be some drafts where he's a little more expensive. Maybe more of those Charger fans buying him up. I think he eventually usurps Quentin Johnston. I think that eventually happens. I think he climbs in this offense. I think Ladd McConkey's going to be the guy. And I think they're going to run the ball a lot. Because they've shown that hand by drafting a running back in the first round. Ladd McConkey, Amarin Hampton, and then whoever's next at wide receiver, which is going to be Trey Harris. I think he's going to start off in that Palmer role and then move up. But I think you got some upside there. Again, I want to be pounding running back and then trading for these guys that I kind of like cheaper later. Now that I can forecast them, maybe having a slower start to the start of their career and just get them as just cheap plays and cheap assets later on down the road. Now looking at 203, Cam Scatterbill. 4th round pick to the Giants. I look at him taking Tyrone Tracy's job. He's very dependable, very good vision, good between the tackles. Tyrone Tracy and him's actually going to be a damn good committee. Tracy's got more pop in the step. He's going to give you that pop. Cam Scatterbill is going to grind it between the tackles, be Mr. Reliable. He's probably going to be the Russell Wilson of running backs. He probably is. He's probably going to be the Russell Wilson of running backs while looking like RBT off the Madden YouTube channel. That guy, the Titans fan guy. While looking like that, But while being the Russell Wilson of running back, he could be the Jason Witten of running backs. Just old, dependable between the tackles, grinding it out. Your old school fullback, running back type of deal. Like a fake Peyton Hillis type of deal. At the 203, though, he's so reliable with good vision, contact balance. His feet's very good. I look for him to get a lot of touches in this offense, and I'm taking shots at running back. Right here is where I make a stance. This is too late. This is too late. Draft in the second round to the Broncos. We got an opening at the running back position. We got good speed. We got good production. They got him compared to Chase Brown. He's got upside like that. He's going to be getting used. We got Audric Estime and Harvey would be a damn good tandem. Damn good tandem for Bo Nix, football-wise. RJ Harvey back into the first round, a little earlier in the second round. When you get drafted in the second round, if RJ Harvey had this draft capital last year, in last year's class, damn, you guys would be drafting him in the first round easy. He'd be your RB1. He'd be your RB1 because it's him versus a guy with a torn ACL and Trey Benson who couldn't hit 1,000 yards. He'd be your RB1. He's 0.01 slower than Trey Benson on the 40, but more productive, better in the passing game. And he's with the Broncos now. He's adding talent. Why not? Why not? And now we're getting him in discounts and drafts. Now we're getting him in discounts and drafts. This pick here makes me laugh. This pick here makes me laugh. 205. Terrence Ferguson. You know why? I'm on Sleeper doing drafts. I see T. Ferguson. I think it's Tony time. I think it's Tony Ferguson. I think we're getting the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu out. I think we're going 10th planet here. No. We got the Irish mixed in here with Terrence Ferguson, and we're caught the Brenton James. We do have good athleticism. We can stretch it downfield. Sneaky athleticism. Good landing spot with the Rams. Good draft capital. If it's tight end premium, a little higher. I've actually been liking him throughout the process. However, the process is starting to like Terrence Ferguson just as much, so I'm not catching him as a discount. There's a discount. He did not get drafted in this draft. I was kind of upset at these guys. Or he did get drafted and they just didn't give me the other rounds. I don't care. I do like Ferguson. If you're shooting your shot on a tight end, I mean, good landing spot, good production profile, good athletic profile. Production profile is okay. I mean, if to be honest, I think I was really talking off the hip there. But again, draft capital, landing spot, athleticism, nasty hands, good concentration. But if you want to see nasty hands, good concentration, good sides, Jane Higgins. Nico Collins is the man, but we can play beside the man. And guess what? Ric Flair was a 4 horseman. Arn Anderson had a 2 to swarm too. Maybe he can be the Arn Anderson to Nico Collins. Jaden Higgins getting downfield. The one thing about his profile, and I see Allen Robinson there, he's got some characteristics of Nico Collins, getting downfield, contested catches. And Stroud likes to push it downfield, and they wanted somebody else that could do that. They had other players in the roster. They've been putting cheap chips on. They couldn't get it. Jaden Higgins is going to fill that role. Yeah, another Iowa State wide receiver there. They love Iowa State wide receivers, don't they? They definitely do. This isn't like their first rodeo here. There isn't. Through the coaching tree and the GM tree here, like, is there a correlation? They love Iowa State wide receivers. 4.47 40-yard dash, 6'4", 214, 202 drafted early. They're going to use him. He's got higher draft capital than Nico Collins. Nico Collins is the man. Jane Higgins could be the Arn Anderson. This is an offense that loves to push it downfield. I'm not against this. Killed it at the Senior Bowl. Did well. His stock was going up throughout the draft season. But at 207, we're drafting that fat Betch. Jack Betch coming off the board. And the thing about the Raiders here, damn it, he looks like Tony Ferguson here a little bit. That's going to make me like him. So one thing about the Raiders here, you look at that depth chart, and it's pretty open. And I wasn't really too keen on his prospect profile. And if I had to make a hard pivot, and I may have to do a Fat Betch video, but 207, he's in a good range here of the draft. Draft capital's okay. And we're in a depth chart here where we can get opportunity. He might be a sneaky play. he might be one of those pivots for me where I talk shit on and then I pivot in drafts. I'm just going to say that out there because I didn't really talk much shit on him. I just was honest. But, again, when I look at the landing spot draft capital, and he is a reliable player, 6'1", 214. You look at what the Raiders tried to do last year, different coaching staff though. They need this. They need something. Very reliable, sound, technical player. Meat and potatoes player. Not the sexiest. But again, you're looking at this. Now, at the 208, some of you guys ain't going to like this. Some of you guys are. It really depends on your fundamentals. 208, Devin Neal. We went later in the draft, but we're going to the Saints. Kendre Miller, you're screwed. Because Kendre Miller, guess what, dude? They hate you. Your team hates you, dude. Your team hates you, dude. Kendre Miller, they hate you. They're going to like Devin Neal. This guy's been productive. He's got multiple years of being productive there at Kansas State. Late round pick to the Saints. Drafted at 208 here in his rookie draft. And he's a late round pick, but there's an opening in the depth chart. He's got talent to climb the depth chart. Alvin Kamara is still going to be the man, though. That makes me want to buy into Alvin Kamara and redraft this year a little bit. At least we know he's going to get the opportunity early until Father Time decides to step in. Devin Neal here, he's in a good spot here to take over. 208's where you can really shoot your shot on your flyers. Really. A lot of people want to be, and play the ADP game, play this game and that game. This is where you can really start shooting shot on your late round, mid round flyers, honestly. Just get the guys you like. And now at 209, Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel's always open, twitched up. Like, I made that joke about Iowa State wide receivers, but this isn't their first rodeo. This isn't the first year. They've spent cheaper picks on Iowa State wide receivers. But he creates separation. He's always open, 4.39 speed. Technical route runner. Also killed it at the Senior Bowl. Won it at the Senior Bowl. Did well. This is a wide receiver that you could see like the Iowa State hive mind come in with the Texans and really start to work finally for them. Tank Dell. I wonder how bad he's hurt. But he's also came at a good discount to the Texans where they had to make this pick. Honestly, a big drop off at wide receiver. Now you got a lot of talent. He's going to start off slow. You got Christian Kirk there. Talent-wise, with what we see at Christian Kirk now, Noel might beat him out early. He might start usurping him later in the season. He's a guy that if you can't get now, if you're rather slam running back, that you might be able to trade for in season. Like a lot of these players that start off slow, you might be able to make a play for in season with other assets. This is a funny pick. I just want to know your opinion here. 210 Jackson Dart. At this price range, going first round quarterback later on down the board, 1 QB at 210, it's fine. It's fine. The player pools, wide receiver, running backs starting to dip out. Jackson Dart has rich kid written all over his face. You can definitely see that. He looks like that guy from that one fantasy football YouTube channel. The guy always wears the suit. It's probably the same guy. But at this spot here at 210, it's fine. It's fine. 210, it's fine. It's okay. I don't love it. I mean, I'd rather slam running back, but it's fine. It's okay. It is what it is. It is what it is. Says my man Max Holloway. Stay blessed, dude. Next guy coming off the board. And we got some parity here. Jalen Milroe. I can kind of make sense more. The upside is tremendous with the rushing ability. I could definitely see that. We went to Seattle there. Quarterback position there could get very ambiguous fast and in a hurry. And if you're out on the tiers at wide receiver and running back, like the running backs are too late for your blood, or say you're a newer drafter and you're saying, hey, I just want something I would kind of know. I'm not too sold on Jalen Milroe's talent and what I saw at Alabama, the accuracy issues, and we made fun of him even during the Senior Bowl highlights. And not just the highlights, but we made fun of him warming up. Like, he was bad enough where we could make fun of him. As you know, we've been making fun of a lot of players here. Jalen Milroe said he was the best quarterback in the class. The funny thing about that, this isn't a great quarterback class. I think if you take out Cameron Ward, I mean, it's not too horrible of a statement. That's how bad this quarterback class is. And you got him at 328. Honestly, he's in backup quarterback territory. You're going to be waiting a bit. Really depends on how long you can wait. The upside's immense. And I will shoot for upside in this area. I will. Trevor Etienne did not live up to his high school recruiting profile. However, we played at 2 prestigious schools. We got work at Georgia. That's something to look at. 33rd percentile dominator rating there. Agrees with me. Low in target share. Good speed there. Okay speed score. back in the second round with a 4th round pick, early 4th round pick in a deep class is fine. It's fine. We're on the Panthers. We got 2 steady running backs, 2 steady vets in front of them. With them being vets, one goes down, he might be stepping up, getting some opportunity. Price will go up a bit. You could sell or do whatever. Trevor Etienne does have a little pop in that step, and he could surprise you. He could surprise you, but we're going in the 3rd round. Let's do this rapid fire. Maybe I got some jokes, though. 301, Elijah Arroyo. Like I said, later in the draft, there's some tight end values I'm liking here, and I've looked at other drafts. 301, and there's another one that didn't get drafted. I want you to name him once we're done with this. Elijah Arroyo. Good size, adjusted athleticism, going to Seattle. I think quarterback might get ambiguous. It's going to take some time here. Again, you're waiting at the tight end spot, but honestly, you don't have sunk costs invested. 302, Ollie Gordon, late round running back here, going to Miami. I really think we got a running back here that might be a good fit with Devin Achin. Maybe give him a year or 2. And Tyler Algier comp, that's very, very, very similar. Very similar. I'm surprised I never thought of that. 6'1", 226 though. Good size. At the Senior Bowl, he was a monster compared to all the other players. He standing out more with the tight ends than the running backs. And that's going to be a good hammer with these other running backs. I think Jalen Wright's fucked. Jalen Wright's fucked. I get he's a later round pick than Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright was in a weaker running back class. Jalen Wright's in this class. He's going in the same area, if not later. This guy's got good vision and good power and gives you something different. Jalen Wright's fucked because he's very raw, not very technical, not the greatest vision. Jalen Royals going to the Chiefs compared to Michael Gallup, and that makes sense to me. Twitched up wide receiver, very technical, very sound, very nuanced. Later round pick to the Chiefs still. Not chasing the draft capital, but chasing the landing spot and the talent. I like it. This is where I would shoot my shot as well if I'm looking for dart throw wide receivers, and there's very few of them in this year's draft. Woody Marks. Joe Mixon ain't going to be there forever, and running backs get hurt. We'll see more injuries this year compared to last year because last year was below average compared to other years, and maybe it continues to be a trend considering we're using more committees. But if we're using more committees, who's going to be in the committee with Joe Mixon? Woody Marks. Woody Marks, dependable running back. Not overly elite, not the greatest, but he's just sound. He's just sound. Coaches would love that shit. Coaches love it, eat it up. Alec Eomanor went deep into the draft, deeper than expected. We are on an open depth chart, though. We are. They just picked up Lockett, and Treylon Burks still has an opportunity on the depth chart. That's how bad things are. I don't have to say much more. Can he beat out Treylon Burks? If you can beat out that gatekeeper, then you should buy in. And if he starts doing that, looking better than Treylon Burks, starts beating him on the roster, maybe that's when you throw in next year's second or throw in that player you don't like anymore that's holding some okay value still and go in. You got Cam Ward. He spreads the ball around. They're going to make some changes to his offense, but they don't have draft capital in him. No sunk costs, so they can go wide receiver next year. They just drafted a quarterback. What we're seeing, the trend, and it's 90% of the time, you draft that quarterback, here comes the offensive lineman next year, here comes the wide receivers, here comes the tight ends, here comes the running back. Kyle Williams, twitched up wide receiver, pegged for the slot. Not compared to Rashad Bateman. Just not. 5'11", 190, twitched up slot that you move around to the outside a little bit. Could fit nicely with the Patriots here. Patriots are very patient with their wide receivers. That's something to think about here. They could be patient with their last year wide receivers that they drafted, Baker and Polk. They've shown their hand with Kayshon Boutte. Boutte's still on the roster. This could be a mess. However, it's ambiguous, so he could emerge here, and that price is fine. 307, Basil Tootin, upside for days. The running backs at the Jaguars are very ambiguous. Those veteran running backs better get their shit together. If they don't, it's Toot here in Jacksonville or my boy Quinn Allen. And those two running backs could take it over if those two running backs don't get their shit together. 3.9 yards per carry. Travis Etienne, that ain't getting it done. The injuries aren't getting it done. Tank Bigsby stepped up last year, but it wasn't like it was grandiose. He was more like off and on. He did have a couple huge runs, but 308, Dylan Sampson going to the Browns. The Browns are going to pound it. The Browns are going to pound it. So here to think about this is they're going to use Judkins big time, and they got one of the top committees now. When it comes to talent, young talent, they have it right here. A 20-year-old running back coming in. and they got him at a good price tag here. You're getting him here at a good price tag compared to the draft capital. He's not going to be the dude, but he could get enough opportunity to get some work, get some touches, to get you by. It might become more if injuries hit. 309 Giddens. Giddens landed in a good situation here because the Colts are very ambiguous. Jonathan Taylor, like, he's out just a few games every season. That backup running back for the Colts, I don't think you understand when you look at this redraft-wise, like, how much people are willing to blow fab when that does happen. And with what we saw with Trey Sermon last year, people blew their wad on Trey Sermon. DJ Giddens more twitched up, a good profile, good dominator rating, very productive at Kansas State, good in the passing game. As a backup running back that you're drafting here to take a shot on, I love this price tag. Mason Taylor, if you're looking for a tight end here with draft capital, we're going to the Jets, so it might start off slow. So you might be able to catch him as a throw-in later in another deal. But he's NFL rated. He is. He's NFL ready. Could be a decent player for you. Rashard Smith to the Chiefs here, late round pick. But still, 4.39 speed. And that running back depth chart was very ambiguous last year. And it's not like they haven't promoted late round picks up the board. He's a good dart throw here, but he's going to be an expensive dart throw. The market's just going to go after him. Jaden Blue here to the Dallas Cowboys. There was other running backs on the clock I like better. He did not live up to his high school recruiting status. And I imagine that high school recruiting status played a part in this. But he's good catching balls out of the backfield. And he'll probably beat out Miles Sanders. That's the only thing. If he beats out Miles Sanders in training camp, Miles Sanders is training camp Superman. That is something to look at. Miles Sanders sucks in season, but if he beats out Miles Sanders in training camp, that's something to watch. You got to watch these players in training camp beat out those gatekeepers. We're not looking at the highlights. I look at the highlights with you, but I'm giving you the news like, hey, he's pushing this guy. He's not pushing this guy. This guy's getting reps over this guy. We're hearing this guy. And I do that throughout the summer. I do that through rookie camp, OTAs, and minicamp. Rookie camp clips. Rookie camp clips this week. And I'm back with that. All day long, rookie camp clips, minicamp clips, OTA clips. Right here. Hit that subscribe button. Stop missing out. Harold Fannin is a player that needs more respect, but this is just one draft right after the draft, and they probably had more rounds. I don't know, but we made fun of the players. We cracked some jokes. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Well, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.